A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session. I hope I'm audible and I do please respond. Is it on? Today's editorial for comprehension is all about the arrest of the owner of the Telegram group. It's all about that and whether it can be justified, not justified, why he was arrested. All these aspects have been touched. What is the stimulus? Reasonable restrictions on whom, on what? If you ask that question, on Durov's arrest and content hosting. It is more about restrictions on content hosting. It goes more with that. But what is the main idea of this editorial? Laissez-faire approach to content hosting is not commitment to free speech. Both are different. Free speech is different and laissez-faire approach is different. This is an important expression you have to know. What does it mean? It goes with a particular policy. What is a policy? The policy of allowing things to take their own course. Allowing things to take their own course, allowing things to happen as they happen, that is known as laissez faire. And part of speech, obviously, because approach is a noun, it is an adjective, but a foreign expression. It talks about both are not one and the same. This why this particular thing, because the one who got arrested, owner of the Telegram group, he said in a way both are one and the same. Based on that, the editorial says they are not one and the same. This approach to content hosting is not commitment to free speech. How does it start? It all it the editorial has been written based on a particular incident, and it has to provide the background information that free speech is not absolute. Absolute means no limitations whatsoever. The very powerful that free speech is not absolute and is subject to certain restrictions for public order, morals, and public health is something that has been codified in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We all talk about human rights. We all talk about freedom of speech, but there are some restrictions. What are those restrictions? The free speech or freedom of speech stops at a particular point. If it touches the public life, disturbs the public life, then it cannot be allowed. That free speech is not absolute. It is a fact, it is not absolute, cannot be absolute. Why not? Because it is subject to or restricted by certain limitations. What are those? It should not create any problem with public order, it should not disturb the morals, and it should not affect the public health. And that has been codified in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is implicit, it is understood. The founder and chief executive officer of Telegram, Pavel Durov, is a technology creator who has emphasized absolute free speech on his platform and has built an anti establishmentarian image by risking the wrath of nation states in allowing dissidents to use a messaging application. First, it starts with, based on his statement, the editor clarifies freedom of speech does not mean you can do anything, you can write anything. Limitations are there. Second sentence talks about the person in the limelight. Who is a person in the limelight? The founder and chief executive officer of Telegram. You all know, a very popular platform. And Pavel Durov is a technology creator And he has emphasized something. What is it? Who has emphasized absolute free speech on his platform? And because of this absolute free speech, in a way, has built an anti establishmentarian image. Here, there's one important word: establishment. Establishment has two different meanings. One goes with the government or the regime. That is one thing. Anti establishmentarian, going against a particular nation state or going against a particular government. But the other meaning, it also goes with, usually, it goes with a government. It also goes with a person or persons. When you use it, when you call a particular person, he is an establishment. What it means, he follows the rules and regulations. He's very strict and he keeps himself away from the public life, or in a way, very strict and follows the rules and regulations. Then we say, and in a way, boring also. Then we say he's an establishment. Do remember, it goes with a person. Usually, it goes with a government. What has he done? What has he built? Anti. You have to be alert. Two prefixes. Anti, anti means against, and ante means before. Antenatal, before birth. Postnatal, after birth. Here, anti means against. Because of that, by risking the wrath of nation states, means independent countries. Wrath means extreme anger. Extreme anger. Also, being furious. Wrath of nation states in allowing dissidents. Dissident is a person who opposes the official policies. Hope I'm not blocking. You can listen and make a note. Official policies, or one who opposes the government based on some authoritarian policies they oppose, they are known as dissidents. Based on his arrest, this sentence talks about the the actual thing, what exactly happened. He was arrested. His detention. Detention is a noun. What is a verb form? Detain. Detain is a verb, means to hold for some time. Usually it goes with police. Imagine someone got arrested, he has been kept in the police station for a long time. Then we say he has been detained as a verb, and he had to face detention, noun form. His detention and arrest by French authorities in connection with investigations related to criminal activity on the app. His app, criminal activity, they suspected. Based on that, he was arrested, he was detained. Has raised a question, important expression, and you have to recollect. I have told you guys many a time, rise, rose, risen, one verb, intransitive, irregular. Raise, raised, raised. It is a regular and a transitive verb. Has raised what? You ask the question. Raised the question. This is object. Raise the question if this has been done to provide a chilling effect. Chilling effect means to act as a deterrent, in a way to threaten someone, intimidate someone, not to do something. Deterrent means something that stops you from doing something. Chilling effect on freedom of expression on the internet. There are two things over here. One is internet, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And what could be the reason behind arresting a top gun like the owner and CEO as founder and CEO of a particular organization? The reason could be to tell people you cannot do whatever you want to do. There are limitations when it comes to freedom of expression. It could act as a deterrent, or it could provide a chilling effect. Here again, you have to recollect affect and effect. Affect is a verb. Effect can be a verb, can be a noun. But that could be the reason. The question is, have they done it to tell the public or the world you cannot do whatever you want to do based on freedom of expression or freedom of speech? Or is there any other reason? But the answer is more complicated. It is not as simple as that. His laissez faire approach means allowing things to happen as they happen or allowing things to take their own course to content on the app has meant that his policy has meant what? It is host also to extremism, drug dealers, no restrictions, all sorts of nefarious activities and all sorts of antisocial elements may use a platform. That's what happened, the editorial says. His laissez faire approach without any restrictions to content on the app has meant that it is host also to so many negative dimensions that touch the society and a normal life. What are they? Extremism, drug dealers, scammers, and according to France, child pornography as well. Pornography means visual content that deals with here child pornography. Visual content, images, pictures, videos that deal with the sexual parts of children. It goes with children. So, child pornography as well. Mr. Durov has said, now what is this depends. Usually, an editorial like this, someone got arrested. It starts a bit, that is a stimulus. And who got arrested and what is his profile? Why was he arrested? And what could be the reasons behind? And also, once when someone gets arrested, obviously that person tries to defend himself or herself. And based on that, the defense here, more than defense, I would use a word, how the person defies or challenges that arrest. This sentence talks about that. Mr. Giro has said privacy is more important than our fear of bad things happening, and that to be truly free, you should be ready to risk everything for freedom. The same idea, based on that, the whole thing has been written freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But editorial questions, but can it be done to override the responsibility to prevent consequences which could endanger people's safety and freedom? You can do, but the point over here, if you have to override the responsibility to prevent consequences, then it is not advisable. Override the responsibility to prevent consequences which could endanger. Endanger means what? Threaten. You can also think of the word jeopardy. Endanger people's safety and freedom. Your freedom of expression should not disturb the safety and freedom of general public or should not disturb the society. You cannot override and do that. You have the responsibility to prevent the consequences. This is the point, a valid point. This is a key question to ask about messaging apps and free speech absolutists such as Mr. Giro. This is a question we have to ask them. You can do, but there are limitations. And this question is applicable to messaging apps and free speech absolutists. Some people advocate there should be freedom of speech, there should be free speech, but one has to remember there are limitations, and he belongs to that group. Now it is about the Telegram. What is this app and the profile of this app? Telegram is more than just a messaging app, given some of its social networking features. More than just a messaging app, something else is there. Based on what? Social networking features. While it's encryption, encrypt means code. Encryption mechanisms allow for ease of access for dissidents, those who oppose the governments or the nation states, and anti state actors to use the app without scrutiny. No restrictions, nothing. Scrutinize to observe or check thoroughly. It does not fully use end to end encryption, something that apps such as Signal do. There are different apps, and there are two groups broadly. One is an app like Signal, uses end to end encryption, but Telegram does not do that. Because it does not do that, dissidents get a chance, anti state actors get a chance to express their views. This means that some messages related to criminal activity, disinformation, and child pornography can be read by Telegram. It can act on request from law enforcement agencies if needed. If the law enforcement agencies request, it can, because it has access, it can act upon those requests if needed. Telegram, now what is the response of the Telegram as such based on the arrest of the CEO? Telegram, in response to Mr. Durov's arrest, has said this is present perfect reporting verb. Tenses don't change. That its moderation is within industry standards. And their justification, the moderations are within the industry standards, but that is not the case, and has questioned whether the platform owner are liable or responsible for abuse of that platform. There are two aspects here. One is there is a platform and there are users, the one who created the platform and those who use the platform. If something goes wrong here, who should be blamed? Do we have to blame the person who created the platform, or do we have to blame the users who misuse the platform? That is a question raised by Telegram group. That may well be the case. That's a genuine question. But if in investigations by France, the platform is seen to have willfully refused to act, imagine a particular government has requested to act on something negative. Willfully, the platform refused to act. Means willful means intentional. Many of you are aspirants, you have to know this word. Willful means intentional and deliberate. Intentional. You can also use the word deliberate. Imagine the platform has refused, willfully refused to act upon request to curb hate speech. Curb means to restrict, to control, disinformation, hate speech, disinformation, and contents related to criminal activity. Then obviously the nation state or a particular government or particular country has a right to take action. Mr. Durov, imagine that is a case. Some government requested the Telegram to remove something, but the Telegram group has not responded, did not comply with. Then, based on that, the editorial says, if that is the case, Mr. Durov cannot and should not escape the long arm of the law. An important expression. The long arm of the law means extended powers, extended powers of the authorities to enforce law. Extended powers of or absolute powers of the authorities to enforce law. He cannot escape, should not escape the long arm of the law. Now, editorial talks about this sentence talks about what exactly happened in our country. In India, the baleful effects means you can understand negative and not acceptable. And also, you can think baleful means something like suppress, not literal meaning to reduce the intensity, but for that we have got many a time alleviate, assuage, mitigate. That meaning is different here. Reduce the effect means suppress or control. That's what you have to. In India, the baleful effects of misinformation on platforms such as WhatsApp were visible some years ago, before the application came up with certain restrictions. These, these helped to tamp down the spread of misinformation, control the spread of misinformation. For Telegram to remain a free speech advocate and a platform, it must eschew an important word. Eschew means to abstain from, or to keep away from. Absolutism and become more responsible in moderating content. It should not follow that policy of laissez faire. That's all about the editorial. Please answer this question. First question based on your comprehension and listening skill. I'm sorry, here baleful means tamp down means suppress. Baleful means it means something like threatening harm. You can also use the word menace. These are the meanings for the word baleful. And tamp down means suppress something. Tamp down the spread of misinformation. You can guess it means suppress the spread of misinformation. What is the primary issue raised in connection with Pavel Durov's arrest by French authorities? Financial fraud? No. Concerns about Telegram's role in hosting illegal content? Hold this one. Refusal to cooperate? No. On encryption technology? No. Answer is B. Telugu 6 o'clock session you have to attend. This is English, only in English. If you want to listen to bilingual English and Telugu, please join the 6 o'clock session. 5:30 to 6 English, 6 to 6:30 or 6:40 bilingual English and Telugu. Join that session, not this one. Which document codifies that free speech is not absolute and is subject to certain restrictions? It is not the French Constitution, not US Bill of Rights. It is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Universal Declaration of Human Rights implied, what is implied? There are certain restrictions when it comes to freedom of speech. According to the editorial, how does Telegram differ from apps like Signal? Telegram uses stronger encryption than Signal. Telegram does not use any form of encryption. Telegram's encryption allows some messages to be read, while Signal uses full end-to-end encryption. This is the reason. This is a difference. Telegram requires users to register with government ID, unlike Signal. No. What has been the effect of misinformation on platforms like WhatsApp in India, as mentioned in the editorial? Has been completely eradicated. It led to significant social unrest before certain restrictions were implemented. It was never a significant issue. It has been a problem only in rural areas. No. It led to significant social unrest before restrictions were implemented or restrictions were imposed. What is the editorial stance or stand on Pavel Durov's approach to content moderation on Telegram? Editorial supports, does not support. Believes Durov should continue resisting? No. The editorial argues that Durov should take more responsibility for moderating content on Telegram. Suggests Telegram should be shut down? No. Why will they say that? These are the words you got yesterday. Enumerate, to list out separately one by one. Part of speech verb. Mull, part of speech verb. To introspect, to reflect, to consider. Strident, loud, harsh, and noisy. Unwieldy, difficult to manage, unmanageable. On a war footing, with sense of urgency, being on your toes. Ostensible, something seems right but may not be right. Something seems true but may not be true. Dubious, doubtful. Turmoil, disturbance, chaotic situation. Prerequisite, a condition required before we do something. Lapse, a temporary failure of something, failure of memory also you can say. Bevy, large amount or large number of something. Cherry picking, looking only at the benefits or the positive aspects of something based on your convenience. derelict, dilapidated, or in a very poor state or in a very poor condition. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched. And if you have questions, please have a look at these. You get the answers. Have a nice day.